If you've ever had the thought, I know what I should be doing to lose weight, but I'm just not motivated to get started, or I'm just not motivated to stick with it, then today's video will be for you. I'm going to give you 6 simple but powerful strategies that will help you increase your motivation so that it's easier to eat healthy consistently and to get that weight off, even if it's been a struggle to feel motivated in the past. I work with hundreds of women who are trying to lose weight, and most of the women I work with have been struggling with their weight for years, if not decades. So they definitely have had lots of times of low motivation or not being able to be consistent. And so I've had to come up with some really practical tools to help them increase their motivation. The ones that I'm sharing with you today are the 6 most powerful tools I've seen that will help someone feel motivated to lose weight and to stick with it over the long haul. So be excited for that. And then at the end, I also want to share with you the #1 destroyer of motivation. This is a sneaky thing that creeps in for a lot of women, and it really will just suck the motivation out of you. And so I want to touch on that at the end as well, so that you can be on the lookout for that and not let it destroy your motivation. Okay, so let's get started with strategy #1. #1 is to figure out your bigger why. This is a surprisingly powerful one. It doesn't seem like it would be at first, but here's what I found. One of the best ways to increase your motivation is to know why it matters to you to eat healthy and to lose weight. Because the truth is, there will be times where you just want to sit on the couch and it feels hard to have to get up and go for a walk. Or there will be times where it seems easier just to go through drive-thru and pick up something to eat instead of coming home and cooking a healthy meal. Or there are times where that cookie just looks so good and you don't want to miss out on it. And what I have seen is that the best way to motivate yourself to make those more difficult choices is to know why it matters to you, why it matters to you to eat healthy and to lose the weight. But here's the trick. For this to be effective, it has to go deeper than I want to lose 20 pounds. So I've got a couple questions for you that I want to share that you can just jot down and reflect on these and figure out what is your deeper why for wanting to lose weight. And step #1, actually, before we go into the questions, is to figure out what is your goal. So you have to be clear with what your goal is. Maybe your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Maybe your goal is to have more energy. Maybe your goal is to manage some disease symptoms you have or to lower your cholesterol naturally. Whatever your goal is, it's fine. Just be clear on that. But then you want to ask yourself, why does this goal matter to me? And really just give yourself a few minutes to think about that. Why does it even matter that I lose 20 pounds? Why does it matter that I lower my cholesterol? Get clear on that, take a few notes. And then the second question is, how will my life change when I reach that goal? And here's where you really want to think about what will be different for you. How will you feel different when you've reached your goal? What will you be able to do then that you're not doing now? So when you lose 20 pounds, does that mean you'll be able to keep up with your grandkids? Does it mean you'll be able to get up and down off the floor with ease? You'll be able to walk upstairs or walk on the beach without getting out of breath? Will you feel more confident when you're in social situations? So really get clear on those 2 questions. Why does this goal matter to me? And how will my life be different once I reach it? So think through those questions, jot down some notes, and then once you've really gotten clear on what your bigger why is, why it matters to you to lose weight or improve your health, write it down. So write it down clearly, why the goal matters, how you'll feel once you achieve it, and keep it somewhere that you can see often. So that is strategy #1, to just get clear with yourself on why this matters. That's what's going to motivate you in the moment to make the hard choice, even when you don't really want to. When why it matters is more important than not doing it. But to take this strategy to the next level, to make it even more effective, there's one more thing we can do, and that will bring us to strategy #2. Before I get into that though, if you're new here, I'm Christina Johnson, a transformational nutrition coach and founder of the Emerge Weight Loss Program. I help women quit dieting and create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle they can stick with so they lose weight for good, but also improve their health and feel better about themselves. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. All right, let's go on to strategy number 2. This is a simple 1-minute strategy that will help you maintain your motivation day in and day out. And what it is to remind yourself of your bigger why daily. Because here's the reality. It is normal to have days when you don't feel motivated. We will all have those days. It'll be normal to have days when you don't feel like cooking a healthy meal or where you just want to eat the cake and you don't want to say no. So what we need to do is we need to know why in that moment it matters to us to make the difficult choice, why it matters to get off the couch and go for a walk, why it matters to say no to the piece of cake. And so what I find is most effective is to remind yourself daily of your bigger why. So here's what it looks like practically. I would recommend taking 1 minute a day to look at what you wrote down is your bigger why from step number 1. And I would say read it out loud. It will feel more real to you when you say it out loud. So read that bigger why out loud. And then to take it a step further, I would even close your eyes and just imagine that you've already reached that goal. Take a few seconds to just picture yourself. If your goal is weight loss, picture yourself 20, 30, 40 pounds lighter. Picture yourself wearing the clothes that you haven't been able to fit into in a while, or maybe wearing one of your favorite outfits from a few sizes ago. Imagine that. Try to feel in your body how it will feel to be at that weight, to have reached that goal. So again, it just takes a minute, but remind yourself of your bigger why and visualize it. Picturing it and really bringing emotion into it, that is a powerful way for your subconscious mind to start believing this is possible. Because it may not feel possible at first, and that's okay. But we just want to start practicing, reminding ourselves that this is what's important to us, and allowing ourselves to imagine what it will feel like when we reach that goal. So it's a really powerful motivator. Commit to doing this every day for 2 weeks and just see what happens. See if it makes a difference for you. All right, let's move on to strategy number 3. If you struggle to get motivated to start losing weight, then I think this strategy in particular will be helpful for you. And it is to have a clear step-by-step plan to follow. Here's why this strategy is so important. Most of the women I talk with are really well educated about how to lose weight. And maybe you fit into this category as well. Like you've read lots of books about weight loss. You've listened to different experts and read articles and social media posts. You've watched workshops or videos like this or podcasts. So you have a lot of information about weight loss. But here's where that can be a problem. Sometimes, and this is what a lot of women tell me, is that they have so much information about weight loss that they start to either feel overwhelmed or confused or unsure of where to start. Because a lot of this information contradicts itself, right? Like one person will tell you keto's the way to go, and the other person will tell you, nope, you do need some good healthy carbs. Or, maybe it's just hard to figure out what is right for you and your body and the age and the season of life you're in. And so the problem with having all of this random information from all these different sources is that it takes a lot of time and mental energy to be able to put it together into a plan that you can actually follow. And I know this from experience. I spent years studying weight loss for my own self before I even became a health coach. I would say it would take me about 5 years to put together all the pieces. And that included going back to school to learn about this, because it's not just a simple thing. There's multiple pieces that have to be in place for lasting weight loss. And so the best thing you can do for yourself is to have a step-by-step plan that you can follow so that you don't have to keep thinking, what do I do now? What do I research next? Because I will tell you that not being sure about what to do next will zap your motivation. So let me know if you can relate to this at all. Hit the like button if you can relate to this feeling of having so much information that it's just a little bit overwhelming, or you feel confused or unsure of where to start or what to do first. And here's what I know to be true. Motivation increases when you know exactly what to do next. So that is the best way you can increase your motivation to get started, is to have a step-by-step plan to follow that just gives you one little thing at a time to do so that your brain can relax. Because what happens is, if your brain doesn't know what to do next or where to start, it's going to have a hard time relaxing, and you're going to end up feeling like you're constantly self-sabotaging yourself. You're going to feel like you just don't have the motivation to get started, but it's really just because your brain does not have a clear path to follow. So give it a clear path, a step-by-step plan, and then all of a sudden you'll feel so much more motivated. I see this over and over again with the women that I work with. All right, let's move on to strategy number 4. This strategy is essential for helping you maintain your motivation once you've gotten started, and it is to manage your thoughts. And I know this one might be something new for you, maybe something you haven't thought about, but the way you talk to yourself and the thoughts you have running through your mind about your weight loss journey, about food, about your body, it will directly impact whether you feel motivated and hopeful and encouraged, or whether you feel discouraged, unmotivated, and want to throw in the towel. So let me give you just an example to illustrate this so you can kind of see how maybe it might be showing up for you. Let's say you've been eating well for a week. So you've made all these healthy choices, you said no to the cookies, you cooked healthy meals, and so at the end of the week, you're all excited to hop on that scale and to see how much weight you've lost, to see how your hard work has paid off. Well, you get on that scale and the number hasn't budged. How do you feel? I think for most women, immediately they feel discouraged. They feel hopeless. They feel like they failed. And then when they're feeling that way, when they're feeling discouraged and unmotivated, what do we do next? We have a hard time feeling motivated to eat well that day. I mean, has that ever happened to you? Put a me in the comments, where you jump on the scale, you don't see the number you were expecting, and so then you just lose the motivation for the day to eat healthy. This is one of those things that will stop you from eating healthy consistently. And this is just one example of how our thoughts can influence our motivation. But here's what typically happens, and I've coached hundreds of women on this specifically. So what often happens is that women step on the scale, and when the number isn't what you expect, these immediate thoughts come to mind. Things like, this isn't gonna work for me either, or I'm never going to lose weight. My body just doesn't want to lose weight. So these thoughts start popping up in your mind as soon as you see that number. And of course, if you feel like this is never going to work for me, then you're going to feel discouraged. It will not seem worth the effort to keep eating healthy if your thought is, this is never going to work for me. And so what we need to do here, strategy number 3, is to really work on these thoughts. We need to catch them first. We need to be aware of the thoughts that are running in the back of our mind. These aren't even always thoughts that are super conscious, but they're just those sneaky thoughts that kind of float in and float out, and they leave behind a wreckage. They leave behind feelings of discouragement and lack of motivation. And so the key to sticking with eating healthy, even when things feel hard, is to notice the thoughts that are in your mind and to start reframing them. When I'm working with women on the scale, we talk about, okay, when you stepped on that scale and felt discouraged, what were the thoughts that were there? And oftentimes it is things like I said, it's, this is never going to work for me. I'm never going to lose weight. And so then we just start thinking through, okay, is this really true? And they start looking at it from a little bit different perspective. Maybe they start to think, oh, yeah, well, this week I did eat out a couple times in the last couple of days, and I think I'm holding a little bit of water weight from that. Or maybe they tell themselves, you know, was eating pretty well, but I did snack a few extra times. I'm just having some extra snacks when I'm not actually hungry. And so when we start thinking it through that way, then it feels more empowering. Then we can see what's working and what's not working. And then we can feel motivated to take different action to start seeing different results. This is key to eating healthy consistently because your thoughts and beliefs can self-sabotage you and directly impact your motivation. And so learning how to work with our thoughts, to take those thoughts captive and allow ourselves to start thinking more helpful thoughts, that will help you feel more motivated. And guess what? When you're thinking better thoughts and you're feeling more motivated, what happens next? You start doing the things that will help you lose weight. You start being more consistent. You eat the healthy meals. You don't have that feeling like you just want to throw in the towel because you're being more positive with these thoughts. And I know this is challenging to do on our own because the reality is some of these thoughts feel very true. But just because they feel true doesn't mean they are. And it definitely doesn't mean that they're helpful. So this is one of the ways where working with a coach can be really helpful to start looking at these thoughts in a little bit different way so they stop sabotaging your progress. Okay, let's move on to one more strategy that will help you keep the motivation going day in and day out, even if the scale is not moving in the way you would hope it would, and that is to celebrate the non-scale victories. This strategy is a really, really helpful one. Again, it's one of the biggest motivators as I'm working with someone that helps them want to stick with eating healthy. So how it works for me, just to give you a little bit of information about this, when I'm working with someone, before we start, I give them this toxin and inflammation quiz to fill out. So basically it's this list of a bunch of different random symptoms and they rate themselves how serious that symptom is for them on a scale of 1 to 4. And then they add up their numbers, and so the higher the score, the more severe the symptoms are. And then after we've been working together for about 4 to 6 weeks, they take that quiz again. And here's what happens. That score almost always, like 99% of the time, drops significantly. That means that there's all these random symptoms that they used to feel that are starting to feel better. And that is a really powerful motivator to keep eating healthy. I'm just thinking of one woman as an example who she retook this score after about 5 weeks of working together, and it had probably cut in about half. And some of the things that changed were surprising for her because her goal was weight loss. She wanted to lose some weight. But in addition to that, she noticed that her mood was much better. She wasn't as stressed and as anxious as she was before. Her joint pain had improved significantly. Then other random things like itchy ears had improved. And so when all these random symptoms start to improve, we start to notice how powerful this way of eating is. In fact, I was just talking with someone yesterday who was noticing the connection now between how good she feels now that she's eating clean and following this lifestyle. And it's to the point where she doesn't even want to eat processed food, not because she wants to get the weight off, but now it's also because she knows how much better she feels without it. And that is a really powerful motivator. When you can be motivated not just by the number on the scale, but also because you feel good, your stomach's better, your joint pain's down, you're sleeping better, your energy's amazing, then it's like you have all these reasons to be motivated to make the healthy choices. And so this is just one of the best ways that I found to increase motivation to keep with eating healthy long term is to focus on the whole big picture, not just the number on the scale, but all the other wins along the way. And so this strategy, just a simple way to try it is to every week have yourself sit down and just list out what are some of the non-scale victories from the week? What are the ways you're feeling better? What are the choices that you made that you're proud of? Did you choose to say no to the dessert that was offered to you? Did you follow your healthy eating plan for several days? Start to celebrate all these small wins, and that's going to increase your motivation because the more wins you're looking for, you're going to feel more motivated, more hopeful, more positive, which means you're going to keep doing the things that will bring you more of those wins. So it starts this positive cycle. Okay, let's move on to the sixth and final strategy to increase and maintain your motivation. And I will still share that number one destroyer of motivation with you. Strategy number 6 is to get coaching and accountability. Because the reality is your motivation will ebb and flow. There will be days and weeks where you feel on fire, you're motivated, you're doing all the things. But then it's natural that life happens. There's times where maybe you're just extra busy, or you're more stressed because of certain things going on in your life, or you just have too many responsibilities on your plate. And then all of a sudden, it's like your energy and motivation to focus on your health and weight loss goals starts to decline. This is normal. Whether or not you get to your goal weight depends on how you handle these times of low motivation. And so this is where coaching and accountability can make all the difference. Working with a coach like myself gives you the opportunity to work through some of these negative thoughts that are sabotaging your motivation. It helps you work through those days and weeks of low motivation, giving you a plan to follow so that you know exactly what to do to get back on track so that your brain can relax and stop sabotaging you. I firmly believe we are not meant to make big changes alone. I mean, I personally have hired many coaches throughout my life to help me achieve different goals in my life. And I think when it comes to health goals, weight loss goals, changing our eating habits, those are big changes to make, especially if you don't have people around you that are also making those same changes. And so having somebody who can give you a step-by-step plan to follow, who can provide some accountability and work through the motivation can be really powerful. And for a lot of people, yes, your motivation will come and go, but coaching, support, accountability is what will keep you consistent through the highs and the lows of the journey. And so if that sounds like something that you've been missing, if the lack of support, if the lack of a plan, if the lack of accountability has been keeping you stuck or maybe stopping you from getting started, then I would invite you to apply for a complimentary lose weight and keep it off breakthrough call with me. This is a chance for us to talk and uncover what's been keeping you stuck. Whether it's your habits, whether it's your thoughts or your motivation, we'll figure out what that is and then create a personalized plan for you to move forward so that you start seeing results. And we'll see how I might be able to help you do that. So it's a no pressure call, but definitely an opportunity for you to get some support and take one step forward today. So I will put a link in the description of this video so you can apply for that complimentary lose weight and keep it off breakthrough call. I would encourage you to do that, and I would love to help you personally with your goals. Okay, let's move on to the number one destroyer of our motivation, and it is unrealistic expectations. Oh, this is such a big one. Women tell me all the time, I know that it's going to take a while to lose weight. I know that it took a while for the weight to come on and it's going to take a while to get off. But here's the problem. We can know that in our head, but most of us, that's not what we want in our heart, right? Like we want the quick weight loss. We want to see our results pay off quickly. Let me know if that is you at all. Just tap the like button. If that is you, that even though you know it'll take a while, it's not what you want. And so what happens is we go into weight loss and we have these unrealistic expectations where even though we know it won't be quick, secretly we want it to be quick. We want to lose 5 pounds every week. We want it to happen linearly. This is a big one for a lot of women I work with. We often think that if I'm following this plan consistently, that week 1, I'll lose 1 to 2 pounds. Week 2, 1 to 2 pounds. Week 3, that it'll just be this consistent progression. But that's not how our bodies work. Our bodies are these complicated systems, and it doesn't always work that linearly. And so what usually happens is, there's maybe 1 week where you lose 2 or 3 pounds, and then it's a pound, and then maybe there's a week where it's a plateau, and then you start losing again. That is actually what's normal. It is normal to have it kind of vary from week to week. But if we're not expecting that, and if we're not prepared for that, then that can really sabotage us. So then as soon as we're not getting that consistent results, we think, oh, this isn't working. So really managing your expectations up front is really important. It's a big, important piece to being able to maintain your motivation. Because if you're expecting one thing and then it's not happening, you're going to pretty quickly feel discouraged about that. Okay. So So let's wrap up. Remember that motivation is not just something you have or don't have, but it is something you can intentionally choose to cultivate by using these strategies that I shared with you today. And I know they work. I've seen them work for many, many women. So let's quickly recap them. And what I would love for you, the coach in me, wants you to take action. So let me know in the comments which of these you will follow. Just put a number in the comments, which of these you're going to try. So number 1 was to figure out your bigger why. Number 2 was to take 1 minute a day to remind yourself of your bigger why. Number 3 was to get a clear step-by-step plan to follow so that you start feeling motivated. Number 4 is to manage your thoughts, manage all those negative thoughts in your head that are zapping your willpower. Number 5 is to start celebrating the non-scale victories. And number 6 is to get coaching or accountability. Let me know in the comments which of those that you would like to start implementing. Then, if you are looking for a simple, doable plan to kickstart the journey, I have a free 5-day weight loss challenge that I would love to have you start. So I will put a link to that in the comments as well, so you can just click that link, sign up for the 5-day weight loss challenge, and each day you'll get one simple but powerful tool that will help you kickstart your weight loss journeys. It's designed to help you build confidence and motivation to just get started. All right, thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you again in the next video.